You know that feeling when you walk into a room and the vibe shifts, like someone just x-rayed your soul before you've even found the snack table? Yeah, that's you. INFJ, with your secret filter dialed all the way up to Sherlock Holmes meets mind reader. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Most people never pass your test, and they never even realize they're taking it. The game starts before you say a word. Did they hesitate at the door? Did their eyes dart? Did they check their phone for the 5th time? Classic rookie move. You've already run 100 micro calculations before they even get their first hello out. It's not magic. It's not even strictly empathy. It's your filter, and it works faster than Wi-Fi. In a cafe where everyone's pretending to write a novel. So if you're an INFJ, or you think you are, strap in. Today, we're breaking down the invisible system you use to size up, sort, and sometimes mentally banish people in record time. Fair warning, some of your best kept secrets might be about to leak. But hey, that's part of the fun, isn't it? Let's dive right in. All right, first on the list, the invisible checklist. Why INFJs secretly score every encounter. You probably don't realize how hardcore your invisible checklist actually is. The second you meet someone, the INFJ filter snaps into place. You're not just saying hello, you're running a full diagnostic in the background. You size up body language, tone of voice, even the awkward way they shift their weight from foot to foot. You're calculating, faster than Google, whether this person is authentic, hiding something, or possibly just really needs to pee. You check for authenticity, like it's your own private Olympics. Are their words lining up with their micro expressions? Do their jokes land because they're genuinely funny or because they're trying too hard? When they laugh, do their eyes join in, or does their face do that weird thing where only the mouth is invited to the party? You catch these details that most people miss. You notice if someone's energy drops when the topic shifts, if their enthusiasm spikes at the mention of obscure bands, or if their smile fades half a second too soon. Every single detail gets logged, scored, and filed away for later analysis. It's not judgment, it's instinctive pattern recognition, and honestly, it would make the NSA jealous. What's funny is, you apply this invisible scoring system everywhere, all the time. You use it on your boss when they pretend not to know about Friday deadlines, on your friends when they suddenly become too busy after you mention moving day. On dates, you're basically doing a personality background check before the appetizers even arrive. If someone survives your checklist with a passing grade, it's practically a soulmate moment. But here's where the psychology gets deep. You're not really looking for perfection. In fact, you get suspicious when someone seems too smooth, too flawless, too ready with all the right answers. If anything, a little awkwardness is a sign of honesty to you. You'd rather see someone's quirks than their highlight reel. The INFJ filter isn't about finding flawless people, it's about finding real ones. The weird thing is, you even run this filter on yourself. You catch your own inconsistencies, your micro lies, the little ways you try to fit in or smooth things over. You analyze your reactions, question your own motives, and yes, sometimes even judge your own taste in reality TV. At the end of the day, your invisible checklist is less about building walls and more about mapping out where the safe bridges are. It's how you keep the drama out, how you spot genuine connection, and how you end up with stories about people that your friends swear you made up. Most people have to learn the hard way who to trust. You just need about 5 minutes, a weird anecdote, and maybe a glance at their shoes. And next up, the one lie. They'll instantly call, even if you believe it yourself. You have this strange, almost unsettling ability to detect a lie before the person even finishes telling it. And the funniest part is, half the time they don't even know they're lying yet. But you do. You hear the hesitation in their voice, the sudden shift in tone, the way their eyes look everywhere except at you. It's like your brain quietly whispers, that's cute. Try again. While they're still explaining why they're totally over their ex or not bothered at all, you're already mentally circling their statement in red like a teacher grading a suspiciously confident essay. And it's not just big lies you catch. You detect the tiny ones. The innocent little self-delusions people dress up as coping mechanisms. They say they're happy at their job, but their shoulders drop half an inch when they talk about Mondays. They say they don't care what others think, but their face tightens every time their opinion is challenged. You're not judging them for it. You're just noticing what they haven't noticed about themselves. It's almost like emotional X-ray vision, except you didn't ask for it, and it doesn't come with an off switch. The most fascinating part is that you can feel the truth behind the lie before the person explains anything. It's embedded in their pauses, their word choices, their body language. So when someone insists they're fine, you already know if they're actually exhausted, hurt, overwhelmed, or harboring the emotional weight of a small planet. And while everyone else just accepts the answer and moves on, you're quietly thinking, no, you're not, but take your time. But here's the twist. You don't just catch other people's lies, you catch your own. You hear yourself say, I'm not bothered. And immediately your brain responds, yes, you are. You can't even fake your own emotions without triggering your internal alarm system. You pick up on the way your voice changes, the way you mentally detach, the way you suddenly care way too much about reorganizing your room at 1 a.m. You can lie to others, sure, but you can't lie to yourself. Not convincingly. And that's what makes this part of the INFJ filter so intense. You see beneath masks, yours and everyone else's. You know when someone's pretending to be confident, pretending to be over it, pretending to be okay. You can't always explain how you know, but you do. It's like your intuition is permanently 2 chapters ahead of everyone's emotional storyline. And honestly, sometimes it would be nice to turn it off. But then again, without it, you wouldn't be you. Thirdly, the compliment trap. How INFJs use praise to reveal your true self. You have this hilarious little social experiment that you run on everyone, and most people don't even realize they're the test subject. It's called the compliment trap. You toss out a compliment, something subtle, not too flashy, and then, like a scientist with a magnifying glass, you watch what happens next. It's not really about the words, it's all about the reaction. Some people get genuinely flustered, tripping over their thank you, like you just handed them a live squirrel. Others immediately deflect, downplaying whatever you praised as if accepting it would put them on some government watch list for excessive self-esteem. Then, there's the rare person who receives it with honest gratitude. No awkwardness, no fishing for more, just a smile and a simple, thanks. You mentally take note. This is data for your ever-growing psychological spreadsheet. You don't do this to mess with people. You're not out here conducting evil scientist-level mind games. For you, it's a way to see someone's real personality peek out from behind the mask. Compliments are like emotional X-rays. If someone shrinks away from praise, you know there's some insecurity bubbling beneath the surface. If they brush it off with a joke, you get a glimpse of their need for validation or their defense mechanisms. And if someone takes the compliment and instantly turns it into a humble brag about their latest achievement, well, you're not fooled. You just silently award them a gold star for most likely to flex at high school reunions. What's funny is, you even notice the micro expressions, tiny smiles, nervous glances, the little ways people try to hide their true feelings. Most folks would just move on. You file it away, adding it to your running analysis. And yes, sometimes you replay these interactions later, trying to figure out if that one eyebrow raise meant anything, or if you've just read too many psychology books. But the best part is when someone accepts your compliment fully, like it's no big deal. No self-deprecation, no blushing, no need to launch into a backstory about their grandma teaching them to knit when they were 5. Just acceptance. It's so rare that you practically want to throw a party. Because for you, that's the real sign of inner security. Someone who can accept kindness is someone who's probably safe to trust. So you keep using the compliment trap. It's subtle, it's effective, and honestly, it's way more fun than small talk about the weather. And who knows? Maybe you'll finally meet someone who can compliment you back without making it weird. Now, wouldn't that be the ultimate plot twist? Fourthly, not empathy. Interrogation. The art of the subtle psychological probe. You've probably heard people call you a good listener, but if they only knew what was actually happening under the surface, they might realize it's a lot more like a psychological interrogation, just with softer lighting and less waterboarding. Your secret talent isn't just empathy. It's the art of the subtle probe. You're the conversational ninja, guiding people down rabbit holes they never planned to visit, all while making them feel completely at ease. You ask questions that sound harmless on the surface. How's work been? What was that like for you? But your tone, your timing, even your pauses are designed to pull out the stuff people normally hide. You pick up on the story beneath the story, the pause before someone answers, the way their eyes dart or their fingers tap the table. You'll nod, smile, and gently nudge them a little deeper every time, like a polite detective who just so happens to care about your childhood hamster trauma and your unresolved feelings about group projects in the 3rd grade. People leave conversations with you feeling lighter and sometimes a little freaked out, like, did I just reveal my entire life's backstory to someone I met 3 hours ago at a coffee shop? You're not mining for secrets or building some grand archive of everyone's emotional baggage. You're just curious, genuinely, endlessly curious about what makes people tick. What's hilarious is, even if someone tries to dodge your questions, you have a 6th sense for redirecting. If they try to change the topic, you circle back with a gentle, but you didn't really answer, or you mentioned something interesting earlier, and boom, you're right back in the deep end. You make vulnerability feel safer than it actually is, which is why people end up oversharing and then texting you, wow, I never talk about that stuff. It's not about getting dirt or using people's stories for leverage. It's about understanding the full picture, why someone's afraid to commit, why they get tense talking about family, why they get that glazed look when you bring up the future. You're less interested in the highlight reel and way more invested in the bloopers and deleted scenes. The best part? Half the time people thank you for just listening, not realizing they've participated in an impromptu therapy session with someone who should probably start charging. But you're not in it for the money. You're in it for the moment someone drops the mask and shows you who they really are. And once that happens, you tuck that truth away, treat it with care, and maybe, just maybe, return the favor if they earn your trust. Fifthly, instantly out. The one trait that gets you blacklisted, no exceptions. Let's talk about your ultimate deal breaker. The one thing that triggers your INFJ filter so hard, it's basically an automatic lockout with no chance of parole. It's cruelty. Not the cartoon villain, mustache twirling kind, but the little moments most people excuse or overlook. You notice how someone treats the waiter who's just spilled their drink, how they talk to the barista when their name is spelled wrong, or the way their tone sharpens with someone who has nothing to offer them in return. You can tolerate a lot of quirks, awkwardness, nervous laughter, and odd taste in socks, but show even a flicker of mean-spiritedness, and the trap door opens. No dramatic speeches, no warnings, just a quiet mental note. Nope, next. What's wild is, you spot these moments when nobody else seems to. Everyone else is caught up in conversation or distracted by their phones, but you're watching, storing every little detail. It's not that you expect perfection, You know people have bad days, and not everyone is always on their best behavior, but you see the pattern. The way someone's patience runs out with people who can't fight back. The little jokes that punch down, the silent sighs or eye rolls that say more than words ever could. You don't need a long list of reasons, and you definitely don't need to give people a second chance. Your intuition makes these calls for you. Swift, silent, and impossible to override. It's not personal vendetta. It's self-protection. Because you know from experience that small acts of cruelty are never just isolated incidents. They're previews of bigger character flaws, the kind that can make a relationship, a friendship, or even a casual encounter go sour fast. And if anyone ever accuses you of being too sensitive, you'll just shrug. Maybe you are. But in your world, kindness isn't negotiable. It's the bare minimum. People can fake a lot of things, confidence, interest, humor, but they can't fake how they treat those who are powerless or inconvenient. You trust those moments more than any carefully crafted persona or Instagram highlight reel. The funny thing is, your friends probably wonder how you always manage to avoid toxic people or drama. They think you have incredible luck. But you know better. You just have a filter that works over time, scanning for decency, and shutting out anyone who can't clear that low, yet surprisingly rare bar. And honestly, you wouldn't have it any other way. Sixthly, the shadow file. How INFJs remember the stuff you forgot you said. You have this secret ability that borders on spooky, the shadow file. You remember things people say that even they don't remember saying. Not just the big confessions or dramatic life events, but the weird, random, blink and you miss it details that everyone else immediately forgets. Someone once mentioned their favorite childhood ice cream flavor at a party 3 years ago. You remember? That time, a friend casually dropped a throwaway line about wanting to move to a city nobody else likes. It's all stored away, organized in your mental filing cabinet under useful for surprising them later. You're not hoarding information to hold it over people. For you, every strange detail, offhand comment, and vulnerable moment is a piece of the puzzle. You use these shadow files to map out who people really are, how they're changing, and what matters to them, often before they realize it themselves. When a friend's energy shifts, you compare it to a dozen moments from their past, checking for patterns or subtle red flags. You can connect the dots with astonishing accuracy, which makes you the friend who texts someone on their obscure anniversary or remembers to ask about their dog's surgery 6 months after the fact. Most people think you're just incredibly thoughtful, but you know it's more than that. It's almost instinctual. When someone's words don't line up with their previous stories, your internal radar pings. When a loved one seems down but insists they're fine, you quietly sift through your shadow files, searching for clues. Maybe a subtle change in their routine, a forgotten ambition, or a joke that suddenly isn't funny anymore. You notice when someone brings up the same regret in different forms, over and over. And you notice when someone stops sharing certain details, as if they're quietly shutting a door. What's both hilarious and a little unnerving is how often your memory catches people off guard. They'll laugh and say, "Wait, how did you even remember that?" You just smile and say, "It's your thing." But really, you're running on a level of observation that would make most people tired by noon. The shadow file is your way of tracking authenticity, keeping your inner circle genuine, and knowing exactly who you can trust when it actually matters. The best part? When you use your memory for good, surprising someone with the perfect birthday gift recalling a wish they made in passing, or simply checking in when nobody else remembers to, that's when people realize your so-called spooky memory is actually your greatest gift. And for you, that's proof that real connection isn't built on grand gestures. It's built on the tiny, almost invisible details that nobody else even notices. Last, but not least, the paradox filter. Why INFJs are drawn to your contradictions. You'd think, with all this filtering and silent analysis, you'd be looking for the people who have it all together, the ones who've polished every rough edge and figured themselves out. But the truth is, you're drawn to contradictions like a moth to a very confusing flame. You're not interested in someone's best version. You want the tangled, messy, and sometimes hilarious mix of strengths and insecurities that make a person real. It's the paradoxes that fascinate you most. The friend who's the life of the party, but quietly slips away to recharge. The tough coworker who cries at sappy commercials. The person who claims to hate attention but can't resist, making the perfect, sarcastic comeback when everyone's watching. You see these contradictions, and instead of thinking, wow, what a mess, you think, now we're getting somewhere. It's like a secret code. The more complex someone is, the more genuine you believe they are. Because in your mind, anyone who's always on, always perfect, is probably just hiding the good stuff. You trust someone more when they admit they're scared, but still show up, or when they laugh about their own quirks instead of pretending they don't exist. You notice when people contradict themselves in conversation, say one thing, do another, or change their story halfway through. And instead of holding it against them, you mentally file it under authentically human. This is why people with neatly curated social media feeds don't impress you. You want the stories they only share at 2 a.m., the ones that reveal something unexpected or vulnerable. You'd rather hear about someone's weirdest fear than their latest achievement, because that's where the truth lives. And if you're honest, you know your own contradictions run just as deep. You're the peacemaker who sometimes loves a little drama, the introvert who craves connection, the old soul who binge watches cartoons. Maybe that's why you're so good at spotting the paradoxes in others. You've already made peace with your own. So when you find someone who isn't afraid to be a little bit messy, to admit they're still figuring things out, you instantly feel more connected. That's when you know you found another member of your Real Ones Club. And if the world had more space for contradictions, you're pretty sure we'd all get along a lot better. So there you have it. That's it for this video, and see you in the next one.